Forget your change, especially notes.
And
Gordon's alive!
we are speaking as one. To say,
To say,
Stay at home.
Protect the NHS.
Save lives.
and
RTI.
Keep talking.
keep talking.
Keep talking.
Keep talking.
Keep talking.
Continue de parler. बात करते रहिए.
Keep talking.
Keep talking.
Keep talking. Keep talking.
Don't keep it to yourself.
And if others want to talk to you, listen.
We can all get through this.
If we stay at home.
Protect the NHS.
Save lives and
keep bloody well talking. RTI. One, two,
Three. Wash your hands, your hands. It just takes 20 seconds. Wash your hands, your hands. It's for your own protection. No exceptions, no objections. You'll make such a nice impression. No infection if you only wash your hands. And you're done.
the station of the stars.
So what's going on? It's Jack's show.
Hi, I'm Ariana Grande. Hey, this is Lady Gaga.
Hi, this is Mark Ronson.
Hey guys, it's Bruno Mars.
The station of the stars.
Hey, I'm Emily.
Hi, this is Calvin Harris.
Hey, this is Rihanna, only on my station.
RTI.
Mercy. The station of the stars.
We love the music.
It's a great station.
I love it. All the great music. That's what makes it so awesome.
RTI.
All the great music. I never have to change a channel.
Well, the time getting fast to 1300 in Central Europe. It's not there yet. 12 noon in the UK. This is Radio Tatras International. It's your Wednesday radio relief on the station. But I'm going to rant first. So watch this space in a big way. In a big way. In a big way. And then you can find out why I've been to school this morning. Very concerning.
The station is RTI.
That's it. Welcome to Radio Relief. Hello, Dave.
Hello, happy chocolate cake day. Oh. You're not allowed chocolate cake, are you? Sorry.
Oh, but I can still dream about it.
Well, you can dream about it. I'm sure there's lots of people that will be filling their feast with chocolate cake later. It's also National Geographic Day.
That's a magazine.
And a TV channel and all other...
Well, yeah,
things.
lots
It's
of
also
other things.
World Breast Pumping Day as well.
Breath or breast?
Breast.
Breast pumping day.
Yes.
Do you have to have a bicycle pump?
No. It's to encourage new mums to breastfeed their kids.
Oh, right. Oh, that's good. Like that.
Yes.
What else?
Good. That's it. That's your lot. They're just those three. Chocolate cake,
okay. Well, I've got to
breast pumping and National Geographic.
Well, I've got to do the serious one then, I guess.
Go on then.
Because today is Holocaust Remembrance Day, where we cast our minds back to the millions that suffered at the hands of the Nazis, which is very pertinent because of where we are in Poprad. And it's one of those things that, we often forget how, we're in the middle of a pandemic and we talk about numbers, but we shouldn't forget the millions, and I mean millions, who suffered at the hands of that evil person, who I'm not even going to mention, because I don't think he deserves one, and for all their families that are still here, and actually some of the survivors from Auschwitz as well that are still on the planet, lots of love to you. I hope the remembrance isn't too difficult for you. And don't forget, we move on as one. We don't move on singularly, we move on as one. And before we get into our secret guest, I tell you, you're going to need a box of tissues for this, because I nearly cried when I read the CV of said person. But before
I've read her biography as well, and I nearly cried. So
I know.
This show is brought to you in association with Kleenex.
I think it should be today. Anyway, good morning to Paul and to Courtney, and also Paul. He's been off for a few days, and he's got a note from his mum because he wasn't here, which is okay.
I hope he's going to email it to us.
Well, that's very true. Hello to Steve, who has been a fantastic person this morning, copying This is all to do with our special guest, copying the note about the programme to all the visually impaired groups around social media, so thank you. Tim's there. Good moaning, everybody. Tim, you can't be moaning, Tim. It's not
That's
all.
your job, isn't it, Eric?
Yeah, I'm the one that's allowed to moan. Good afternoon, everyone, says Ian. Has Dave got a rant jingle done yet? That's a good
Not
point.
yet. But I'm thinking we should have one, the amount that you've been ranting over the last few weeks.
All these time zones get me confused. You think you're confused, Tim? Gordon Bennett, I've got America, UK, CET, Australia. No, just give up. It's at the top of the hour. John says, afternoon, guys. Hope you're both well. Thank you for that, John. You too. Why doesn't the media ever mention the disabled people who were killed? I don't know, Steve. I really, really don't know. I mean, whether you can say this is lucky or not, I don't know if that's the right adjective to use. But I have been fortunate enough to meet some people here, because we're in the centre of things, reference the Holocaust. And, you know, some of the tear-jerking stories people tell me is, well, some of them I couldn't even repeat on the radio. They're so difficult. And it's not because they're heartbreaking, it's because they're, you know, they're worse than a horror movie, things that people have done. So, yeah, I get it in a big way. And I don't know why disabled people have not been featured in so many of these documentaries. You're absolutely right. And the other group of people that were almost eradicated were the Roma people. You know, they were targeted in exactly the same way as others. So, you know, it matters not whether you're disabled or Jewish or Roma. It's a day for everybody, and we you know, we should remember that. Tim says, King Moaner, that's Eric. I don't moan. I don't moan. I really
Trina
don't.
says afternoon. Shall we move on?
Yes.
We'll just accept that you moan.
Okay.
Deal with it.
Mitchell says, hello, everyone, and hope you're all well. My moan is very short today, actually, because yesterday I had the misfortune of watching Sky News. Not Sky News per se, but I thought I'd risk going back to watch the PM's briefing.
Oh, no. Now you know what happens when you watch this, because you get very upset about
Yes.
the questions.
I do.
The first
No. The questions from the normal people.
from the public are fine. Yes.
Yeah.
It's when we get to the J's that's the problem.
Yes.
And we're not going to swear today.
No, the minute the BBC's mentioned, I go, oh, and off we go. And then they spent the rest of the evening going on and on and on about how many people had died and who got it right and who got it wrong. And do you know what? It's about time the citizens of the world took responsibility. Do you know what I'd love to do right now, Dave?
Wash your hands.
No, I've washed my hands already. In the beginning. Do you know what I'd love to? I'd love to go into an electrical shop, even just a window shop. But I don't.
Really?
I can't. I won't. It's not sensible. You know, I have no need to do it. In actual fact, I'd be close to a divorce if I went wandering into some shops. Martina would kill me. And do you know what?
Yeah, but we all know that you just go in and buy Anaraki type stuff, and it'd just be awful.
No, I don't. The trouble is I buy too much. But the bottom line is, if I go into a shop, albeit with a mask on and disinfecting my hands and everything else, I don't need to go there. And all I'm doing is risking something getting spread from, I don't know, a can of beans. Now, here's a perfect example of things that aren't spoken about. If a blind person goes into a shop, or they've got incredibly poor eyesight, and you know, our Jan's got poor eyesight, and his glasses are like milk bottles, for goodness sake. And if he takes his glasses off, he can see things about 3 to 4 inches from his face, and that's it. So if he was out and wanted to check whether it was baked beans or peas in a tin, he would have to lift it up, hand, bring it up to his eyes, go, oh, that's the wrong one, I want the other one, and put it back down again.
Right.
And that potentially is causing a problem.
Yes.
Now, I'm not suggesting blind people are not clever enough to wash their hands, because they blinking well are. They're used to doing that because, you know, any kind of virus, if you've got partial sight, gets into your eyes, they know it's terrible. But it's one of those things that you kind of go, well, actually, you don't need to go there. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't go out. Don't go into shops. Don't go out without a face mask on. Take some responsibility for your own life. Stop blaming politicians, because they can't fix it. Even to the point of yesterday, the police in the UK had to break into a flat. They had to break in. What was happening inside? It's the Americanism of a baby shower. So you've got all these women sitting there that have no mask on. They're certainly less than 2 metres apart. And they're all going, ha, 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 ha. It's not funny. You know, people are dying because you people don't listen. And you don't pay attention. You go, oh, it's all right. Never happened to me. It will. It's ridiculous. Stop blaming everybody else for your own misgivings. And if you are one of these people that goes out and goes, I don't want you on RTI, go away. Not even interested in you. If you can't be bothered to wear a face mask, to disinfect your hands, to 2 metres space yourself away, don't bother asking me for a thing, because I don't want to know. I am absolutely not interested, and I'm annoyed, because there are so many people who die because other people don't care. Take responsibility for your own actions, and you never know, you could save a few people. What's up, RTI, says Axel. I'm annoyed today, Axel. I'm going to be okay in a minute. And, you know, it doesn't matter. I watch television here in Slovakia. I don't understand it all, but I get most of it. And what happens? They blame the Prime Minister. If you watch Polish telly, they blame the Prime Minister. You watch Czech telly, they blame the Prime Minister. You watch UK telly, they blame the Prime Minister. Hello? They can't all be stupid. For goodness sake.
It's the public that's being stupid. Well, some of them are not. I think it's a small minority. It's like being at school, actually. It's the small minority.
This morning.
For the rest of us.
I went there this morning. I've been to school.
You've been to school?
Yes.
Well, this is a first. Ever in your whole life.
I have to try and clean this up.
Why have you been to school?
I had to go and see a headmistress.
Oh dear, you didn't get the cane, did you?
No, but I have to say they didn't build headmistresses like that when I was at school.
Oh dear.
Oh, Ian Gilligan's hiding behind the sofa because Eric's having a mega rant.
He is, isn't he? I'm scared, and I'm quite a long way for Eric.
You're 2,000 kilometres away, to be kind of. But come on, guys, take responsibility. You know, it's like saying, "Oh, the Prime Minister's at fault because I was drinking and driving." Nope, it was your fault. The Prime Minister was at fault because I was caught speeding. No, it's your fault. Stop it.
With car offences, most of the time the problem is that nut behind the wheel.
Correct. Tim's just said, "Ooh, a headmistress."
Steve wants to know, when you went to school, how many continents were there? 5 or 7?
All the plates, including the European ones, were broken. Tim says headmistress conjures up an image. Not when I was at school, they didn't look like that. May I correct you on the baby shower story? The police didn't break in. They were tipped off by a member of the public. Only journalists, sensationalising their stories. It doesn't matter, Trina. It shouldn't have been there.
They were still there.
Yeah.
A bit like that wedding at the weekend.
That was ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Now,
right.
even if the reporters, I'll get round it that way, did sensationalise it a bit, it was still a fact that there was a whole bunch of people not wearing face masks, sitting close to each other in a very confined space, even if it was a member of the public that tipped them off. And do you know what I'm going to do for that member of the public? Round of sandwiches. Because they should do that. They should stop putting people at risk. And if they don't...
I think we need to hand out a few more fines, to be entirely honest.
And
There's not
stick
enough
to 'em.
fines. Yes.
Stick to them. Anyway, we're going to move on.
Yes, calm yourself now.
Yes, I think you might have to take over for a moment, Dave. My blood pressure is significantly higher than, well, not nearly as high as it was when I went to school this morning. But
that was for another reason entirely.
I can't say on air. The conversation between
carry on.
between Jan and I after the event was, how do you get the good jobs? Hey, some of us have got it.
Did we find out why you went to school?
Yes, if you wish. It's only a very quick story. And it's not me. I'm just doing the work because the real person behind it is Jan.
Right. And why were both you and Jan at school this morning?
Well, Jan wasn't there because he's in England, obviously. He can't come here. Trina says, actually, how about the party that was broken up in Hackney, which had 400 people attending? I agree.
Yeah, same there.
Yeah, all get fines, huge fines. It should be...
Right, come on, I want to know why you were at school, and then we can move on to our guest.
Many years ago, we started a project called Digital Angels, which you know about, Dave. And
yes, and we've spoken about on here before.
Yes, which is basically taking second-hand computers from big companies where they change the laptops every year, change the tower cases every 2 years. Most of them get scrapped. Well, I persuaded lots of companies, including Jan's company, not to do that, to send them here. We would refurbish them and give them to schools where a lot of time, you know, kids get bullied at school because they haven't got a laptop or they haven't got a computer at home, blah, blah, blah. And we tried to solve the problem.
Right.
So he decided, in fact, he said, it's all your fault. It was your idea. Now look what's happened. So anyway, he has been looking for not so well-off schools in the UK that need some help. And what he was doing, or what he is doing, is giving them grant funding. So in other words, it's like a present, but it has to be called grant funding. And each school can get, with that money, somewhere around 20 Chromebooks for the school kids in the school.
Awesome.
Oh, absolutely free. Did it before the Daily Mail started or all the rest of them. I mean, in fact, one of the... where's your clang? One of the schools in question is where our buddy Marcus Rushford went to school, for Manchester United. That was very quiet. Wasn't a good clang, it was quiet.
Oh.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. That's better.
Thank you.
So I'll do it again. So Marcus Rushford's brother actually went back to the school for him because he was busy playing football, and arranged it. And so they got a load of computers. I went to the school. We've actually got a junior school, as it's called in England, up to year 9 here, right behind the office. Literally behind the office. I just had to walk through about 3 metres of snow when we got there. And we had a lovely conversation with a young lady who's the head teacher. And she just couldn't believe it. She said, "You're doing what?" I said, "Yes, you just send the invoice to RTI in Poprad, in Bratislava, because that's our head office in Slovakia. And my colleague Honza, the minute he gets it, he'll pay it. And then the day later, the school's procurement group can give you your 20 Chromebooks." And she's like, "What? We haven't got anything like that." And we also did it for a school where you think of Bedfordshire, for example, you think of wealth. You don't think of poor people. And yet we found a school there that didn't have and doesn't have yet, till next week, enough laptops for the junior infant school, right? Not enough laptops for the kids.
That's nuts.
Yep. But they will. And the lovely Sarah from Shillington wrote me a beautiful email. And all of this is paid for by Jan. Lock, stock and smoking barrel. And we are seeing another school tomorrow. then I've got to go to different towns, blah, 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 blah. So by the time we've done here, there will be 6 of the closest schools that haven't got a lot of money, and they will have enough laptops for all the kids.
Excellent.
No,
Thank
no.
you ever so much, Jan, and thank you to you for organising all of this for all these kids.
Yes. Steve just said, having a school so close can't be good for soundproofing. Oh, it is. Oh, it is in this studio. People can jump up and down. You won't hear it. The only time you ever hear it is in the summer when I have all the windows open. But that's another story. Anyway.
In Eric's studio, nobody can hear you scream.
And this is true. David.
Hello.
Did you really read the bio?
I did. I have it here. Look, I've even printed it out on a piece of paper.
Oh, heck. That's a bit efficient.
So I can make notes on it.
And I'm going to get her to announce herself because for Dave's benefit, more than mine, this lady has suffered more than Angelina Jolie. More. Even after all that, she still got up off her backside and said, you know what? I'm going to create a career, a life, a whole life with my art, my music, my writing, and in the best possible way. And I say this with respect. It's almost like I'm in a time warp talking to an intelligent hippie from the 60s. Because she's got all those facets, you know, the art, the poetry, the music, and she does it all herself. Does a whole lot herself. So, Madam X, would you care to introduce yourself with your name, please?
Hi, I'm Anulade.
Did you get it, Dave?
Thank you for having me on your programme.
Anulade.
Anulade.
How many times did I try and get that right the other day?
A few.
Yeah. It just doesn't work for me. I'm gone. Would you, and I hate to put you under this pressure, I think you're strong enough to do it. Bearing in mind we are in the middle of a pandemic where people are struggling, could you just give me the précis that's on your website, your bio précis, starting with your eye problems, please?
Yes, of course. I'm happy to. I've experienced some challenging times with my health that first started with something called thyroid eye disease, which meant I lost quite a bit of my sight, my peripheral vision. I was getting constant double vision and blurred vision. Mm-hmm. So I went to 5 operations to...
Whoa, 5?
5, yes. Over the space of about 18 months.
Good grief.
One of them being inside my head, up my nose, with an endoscope.
I've just got into meltdown mode. Go on.
Well, thyroid eye disease is if anyone's actually got it, and quite a lot of people sadly have suffered and have still got thyroid eye disease, and I still have, but fortunately at that time I was able to go through a process of treatment and surgery to enable me to restore my eyesight to a level where I could see pretty much normally. Mm-hmm. So I had the 5 operations and recovered from that, which took a good year.
And what's your vision like now?
Perfect, it's fine.
Okay. And when you had this condition, how bad was your eyesight?
Well, I had to wear at the time while I was having my treatment some prisms, which were plastic type glasses with stick-on film that turned everything from double vision into single vision. But that was very difficult to wear because it was making my eyes do something they didn't understand. Mm-hmm. Found that driving and even walking out on my own was almost impossible without help because everything I saw 2 of everything in front of me. So if I walked across a road, I would see 2 cars.
You'd see 2?
Yeah, could see.
Oh.
Would be an advantage.
No!
Yes!
No. Maddie says hello. Whoever Maddie. Hello, Maddie. Yeah, so carry on, ma'am.
And from there, I had the treatment for that. And then after a year, I developed something called an overactive thyroid, which meant my thyroid packed up.
Oh, no.
So I had to have radioactive iodine, which, over a period of time, killed my thyroid completely, because now I haven't got a thyroid, and I was put on thyroxine. So I completely rely on that, because for people, a thyroid is one of them, is the dominant hormone in the body. So without that, you can't function. So I have it through the medication every day.
Mm-hmm.
But that enabled me to restore my life back and balance back into my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much I'm not a quitter. I get on with things. And then unfortunately, 5 years ago, I found out I had something called DCIS, which is ductal carcinoma in situ, which means that I had pre-cancer, pre-breast cancer.
Oh, my Lord.
So that was a bit of a challenge, another challenge to get over. But I thought, well, I got over all the others. I can get over this. I've got lots of things in my life that I can distract myself with, like my music and my art. So I'm going to throw myself into that and get through my treatment for that. So I had radiotherapy, and I had further surgery. And then after about a year, I came out of that thinking, great, I've beaten it. And
so
then,
is that where you mirrored Angelina Jolie?
No, because strangely enough, 2 years after getting all clear of that and told I had a 5% chance of it returning,
Mm-hmm.
it came back.
Oh, no.
So I then found that it was still pre-cancer. It hadn't spread. It was in the milk ducts, but my surgeon at the time said, look, all we can do is a double mastectomy and then effectively build your breast tissue back up by putting implants in. So I went through the whole process of what Angelina Jolie had been through.
Mm-hmm.
And that all finished the year before last. So, thankfully, it's now a 2% chance of it coming back, because there's basically very little tissue in there for anything to grow.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm healthy, I've recovered, and I've just had to move on from it.
It's a very tough thing. I've a lot of my life I've been surrounded by cancer, from my godson, who was only 2 when we lost him, through to my late father. And there's always something that it's almost like a light switch. Something happens and your body says, oops, time for that then. Or something affects your life and you go down a little bit and don't fight them off initially. And so I'm surmising, and I don't want to know what it was, that you had a bit of a tough life before all that as well.
Well, I think, I just see that life is full of ups and downs. Life isn't always going to be perfect. It's about taking the moments in my life and enjoying the moments. And yes, it was a shock, but it was also a wake-up call. It was something inside me said, look, we're going to either get through this or we're just going to fall down in a heap and give up entirely. And I'm just not that kind of person. I've always had a very strong desire to be happy. So I spent a lot of time over the years working on how I can manage my own thoughts. Not always easy for everyone, but they're my thoughts, and I've had to take responsibility of how I cope with them. And if thoughts were coming up saying, I'm going to die from this, I had to go and do something to distract myself, because I'm only human. I'm not a robot. I'm built up. There's lots of different experiences and fears and insecurities that I've developed over the years. And I've just had to find a way of dealing with them. And for me, I studied NLP, which was a great way of teaching me tools of squishing down thoughts and seeing them as pictures, and then transforming the pictures into something like a clown, so that I wasn't so afraid of that thought. Because thoughts, but they're my thoughts. And that's the way I dealt with all the ups and downs as a child.
Yeah, can you just explain NLP for people?
Well, as a child, I think I came from post-war parents that were full of lots of conditioning behaviours that affected them, and I think had a knock-on effect about how they educated me as parents, and that wasn't really their fault. It's a fact of life. We're in it now. How do children cope with what we're going through now? And above all of that, how do the parents help the children grow up without being frightened of going outside and seeing people and being around people? And that's something that's, for me, it's about conditioning and finding something that's positive about this experience. And at times that's difficult because we're experiencing something that has not happened to us before.
Yeah.
So
It's
leading each other around the best way we can. But when it comes to children, you want the best for them. But you can only ever do your best.
Yeah, of course. Axel, who's in the US, says he does the same as you. He gets buried and lost in his music. Good call. Good call. Not exactly the street name and the postcode, but Steve says, "Where are you from?" Her accent sounds like something in the UK.
I am. I'm actually. I live in the beautiful county of Buckinghamshire.
Oh, that's very posh.
Very posh. not that I actually was born in Buckinghamshire. I come from Hertfordshire, so probably I'm still quite posh. But
that's okay. We have something in common now. I was born in Hertfordshire, in Hitchin.
Well, I was born in Barnet.
Oh, you're south. You're nearly a Londoner there, for goodness sake. Oh, come on, that's London. It doesn't matter. Now, I'm going to get Dave to ask you about what you're doing now in a moment. But first of all, Dave, if you could help me out here, mate, on Facebook, and put the web address there for me.
Yeah, I can do that.
And then we'll hand over to you, Dave, and then you can ask questions about the present career. And this is just so fabulous. And I can have a quick coffee break.
What do you like?
I'm desperate to cough, darling.
Oh, right. Well, you better go off and cough.
Yes, thank you.
And while I desperately wait for the web address to appear on my screen so I can paste it into Facebook and that. But obviously, since you've gone through all of this, you've now drawn on all of your emotions, and you've turned these emotions into art and music and poetry. Where did this all start from? What triggered all of it to do the art and the music?
Funny enough, it was because as a child I spent a lot of time in my room, in my bedroom, shut away, and that's how I found my creativity, was amusing myself. So and I use that as a tool of helping me handle what's going on in life and the ups and downs of life.
And what sort of music were you listening to when you were a child in your room?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think I got such a massive repertoire of songs that I love to listen to, but because I really loved a lot of the music that came out in the 80s and in the 70s and in the 60s. So I would have to say that going back to the music like ELO.
Oh, yes.
I love ELO. But then I can go right across to Madonna. And into the likes of years ago, Shawaddy Waddy, and of course the Beatles. I love. I've got a huge range of singers that I listen to, and even down to Frank Sinatra, who I really used to enjoy listening to his songs. So I'm very inspired by anyone that's creative.
So you have a wide spectrum of music that you listen to.
Yes.
So that sort of gives you the basis for the type of music that you write and perform now. But there's also your art side as well. So let's look at that. So was art something that you enjoyed as when you were a child, and it was something you did through school, or was it something entirely personal to you?
I've always been interested in being creative, and years ago my parents couldn't really afford to buy me any paint, so I used to sit in the garden and I used to paint what I would think is drawing pictures in the mud in my garden, And I used to mould little shapes and make little things out of the mud, because in those days when I was very young, you didn't actually have parents. It was a luxury to have paint. And it wasn't until I got older that I started to paint with watercolours and then into pastels and then into acrylic and oil paints, etc.
Because I was having a look on your Instagram page, and there is a whole wide range of styles. You can't. When people do art, it's usually a very similar thing, but you have covered a whole myriad of different styles and genres in your artwork. What artists have inspired you, or was it just something you just?
Monet is an artist that I admired all my life, actually, because of the colour and the water lilies. I would say there were so many, and even modern artists now. But I don't tend to. I'm always feel it's a very delicate thing to be inspired with my own art by other artists. I think the one thing I do like is colour and textures, and I use a lot of photography. And I use a lot of my pieces that I produce for clients are on glass and acrylic. I like to bring lots of different forms of art or mediums into one place, and I just layer them on top of each other. Because I like the idea of when I think about I'd like to produce a piece of art, I generally don't know what it's going to turn out like. And that's how my work tends to come about, is I'm very prolific. A lot of the art I'm producing at the moment is inspired by the new album I'm writing for my music, and you'll see as I release a single, it comes out and posted out on YouTube or on Spotify or all the other music platforms, but at that time I also release a collection of art. So at Christmas I have a collection of baubles, and I put things inside Christmas baubles. And then I do a collection of Fabergé eggs. And a Valentine's Day, I'm just about to start working on my Valentine's Day collection that I post out on Valentine's Day.
Crikey. I mean, Axel's asking, what do you call your music?
What do I call my music?
Yeah.
I think it's so difficult for me to give it a name, because I've written the songs, but I'd have to say it's modern contemporary music, but storytelling. So best title for it is storytelling music.
Right. So
I mean, there are there's various different styles in that as well. I mean, I was having a quick listen before we came on air, and there are slow ballady type songs, but there are also upbeat like pop songs there. So do you find when you wake up in the morning, you sort of go, it's going to be like an art day or a music day, or does one lead on from the other? How do you get fired up in the day to go off and create?
Well, I think with my music, I've written most of my songs in bed, and that may seem quite unusual, but the album has a picture of me wrapped in a bed sheet, because all the songs are pretty much written in bed. And I write the lyrics down, or I record what I think is a melody, and then I go back to sleep, because I won't sleep until I've somehow written it down. And then the following day I often put together the music with my guitar. With my art, I'll have an idea. Like, for example, I'm currently looking at my Hidden Faces collection, because it's a song that I've written about hidden faces, which is interesting about people wearing masks. But this song was written in 2017. But I have a collection of art based on faces that are hidden, and stories inside faces, which I've posted over the last few years. But so it's generally a title, and then I go off and I think, right, I go and do some searching and find out what faces are to other people and what people are posting about faces. And that's why the internet's great for getting information. And then once I've seen some face, right, this is what I can do with it. And that's how I work with my art.
Okay, James wants to know, are you selling your music, or are you just playing it as you go?
Am I selling it? Yes, it's all up on all the all the music platforms.
Right. So if we click on the link that David's put onto social media everywhere, then you can buy from there or contact you. Doesn't matter, but which way. But you.
The best way to download or stream them is to go onto any of the music platforms, because I'm on all of them under Anulade, Anulade Official,
Right.
and they'll be able to stream. I'm up on some playlists on Spotify. They'll be able to stream the first 4 tracks that I have out now before my album comes out in March.
Right. Yeah, well, just to let you know, Axel actually writes a lot of music, but he said, too bad I don't know how to sing. I sound like Kermit the Frog in a can. Doesn't matter. And actually, here we go. Wait for this is the sound effect of David and the Clang. Once upon a day, when I interviewed Ian Gillan from Purple. Thank you.
Another name dropped on the floor.
Yes. I asked him that very question about, what's the most important or the best way to sing music, and he said, in the shower in the morning, if you like. It doesn't matter how many people actually hear the music at that moment in time. It's actually about entertaining that one person at that one split second of time, which is the most important thing. So whether you can sing or not, or whether you can just write music, or whether you can just play music, doesn't matter. It's just that one piece of entertainment. And I'm guessing you've got the same kind of attitude to it.
I do. I don't think it's not about having the best voice, because we're all different and we all sing differently. It's about being able to deliver a song and tell a story authentically. It's not about your voice. You've only got to think of the amazing Rod Stewart, and I love his voice, but some people may not like his voice. But I love the way he delivers a song and how he performs the song.
Yeah, to me, he's Super Stewart.
Yeah,
absolutely lovely, absolutely brilliant singer. And when you hear him transfer his whole energy from his better known pop songs to like his jazz album or his crooners album, you think, God, that's a talent. And his voice is wonderful.
It is.
Yep, absolutely. Where do you see your career going?
Well, I'm hoping that people like my music, like me enough that I hope that once we're all opened up and able to spend time together and be sociable again, that I can go out and perform, and that's really what I'd love. At the moment, it's not something I can do right now or would want to do now, but there are other ways of getting around it, doing online performances, etc., which is what a lot of artists are doing at the moment. Yeah,
absolutely. We got to do a couple of quick messages, and I want everybody to pay attention to this, and don't forget what I said. It's on you. You take responsibility.
1, 2, 3. Wash your hands, your hands. It just takes 20 seconds. Wash your hands, your hands. It's for your own protection. No exceptions, no objections. You'll make such a nice impression. No infection if you only wash your hands. And you're done.
RTI.
Oh, wrong one. Put the wrong fader up. Axel says, I remember when I was in a different place, which we don't want to go there, and the brothers used to say to him, please don't go in the shower, because I used to sing in the shower and used to drive them nuts. It is what we do, and I kind of get it. And the other thing that I find very difficult in showbiz, if you like, is how so few of the unsigned artists will ever get anywhere who are, I mean, could you imagine Rod Stewart trying to launch his career today? Never going to happen. It wouldn't be the same. And it's the same with you in a lot of ways, that if it wasn't for social media and some programs like this, of which there are very few, there wouldn't be anywhere for you to launch your career, would there?
Yes, I think it is. It's always been challenging in relation to the arts, because a lot of people don't think it's a job. They think, oh, music.
Yeah, I know. I can remember.
You're just sitting at home singing and painting. They don't actually realise that you actually want to go out and earn money for what you do, and it's a business. But that's fine because we all see life differently. But yes, I like a challenge, and I think that whatever age you are, and wherever you're starting a music business, as long as you're willing to put the work in and work hard. And whether you get on the phone or on the internet or via email, whatever way you can, get your music out there, creativity out there. There's room for all of us. There's enough people in the planet to actually listen to music, look at art, whatever you do creatively. There are other ways of being seen. And fortunately enough, because although we're all at home, waiting to be allowed to be out to play again. We have the internet to be able to post what our creativity is, and even a lot of theatres now, which sadly are closed and have been for some time now, a lot of them are doing online performances that you can pay a small fee and stream a play.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a fantastic pianist in Slovakia called Josef Holly, and if ever anybody gets a chance, just look him up. It's Joseph with a J, Jozef, and Holly, like Holly and the Ivy. And he does this fusion classical music. Now, he can play classical, he can sing, and I mean, if you can think of a classically trained pianist playing AC/DC tracks, that is Joseph Holly. And what he's been doing recently is setting up these online concerts to enable people to still feel part of what he's trying to do. And I have to say, it's phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. And, I think Axel's quite right. The best medicine is when someone comes up and asks you for a CD. It's a fantastic feeling. And you're quite right, as to many artists, Axel, that is right. But when you can't do that, the only way you can do it is with, as you're saying, with modern technology, which brings me on to the question that you and I are, well, no, I'm older than you, that is for sure. But we are of a generation where most people say, we can't do that because it's the interweb and we don't know how to do it. What would you say to those people who can't be bothered to just learn those few bits?
I think one of my favourite sayings is don't decide until you've tried.
That's a good one. I
like that.
Yeah, I like that. We might nick that, and there's a jingle, you never know. But how did you get into, were you virtually forced into going online?
I think I sort of felt like that's the way life was going, and I felt that I'd be missing out on something if I didn't at least try and use some sort of social media presence to promote my creativity. And that's, I started with Twitter. And that was relatively easy with the art. And then from there, Instagram started to take off. And I started to post art and then eventually some of my music or links to my music. But for me as an artist, I get on all the platforms if you possibly can, and get seen, because not everyone's on the same platform and some prefer others, and so get out on all of them. And I think a useful tool, particularly now when we're all at home, is to share your life experience, and people are sharing everything. I mean, at one stage I used to think, why are my friends posting pictures of what they had for dinner? Now I want to know what they're having for dinner, because I'm at home thinking, well, what do I cook?
Yeah.
So it's people are showing what books they're reading or what movies they're watching, and it's a wonderful tool now to be able to engage with people and find out, oh, I'm now finding out how I can cook chicken with whatever new spice that's out there. And it's a great learning tool as well as a sharing tool. And to be honest, I think there's a lot of negativity about the internet, and particularly about social media. But I see it as a bit like the children's playground. Some people behave well and some people behave badly, and could behave particularly nice. But we live in a society full of lots of different people, and you can't do anything about that. You've kind of got to be a bit more savvy with social media, because that is what life is like. You know, challenges, and there's lots of positivity about life, and it's finding what's good in social media and using that for your benefit.
And the benefit of others.
Yes, and the benefit of others.
Yeah, quite right. Steve's just given us some breaking news, which is really tragic. Apparently there's a bomb scare at the vaccine facility in Wrexham. After the show, look at your local stations if you're close to Wrexham to find out what's going on. So you've... I wish there was more people like you in the world, because, you know, there are so many folks who almost put themselves in their own bubble because, and I don't mean the political term for bubbles, but on their own, and effectively lock themselves away. And whilst the internet can be bad, as you quite rightly described, equally it can be your lifeline to the world, can't it?
Absolutely. And I think particularly people that are living at home on their own, they're now able to talk to their families and their friends, which, could you imagine what life would have been like if we hadn't been able to do that when this all hit us?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, you're quite right. I mean, taking your comment about platforms, I'm trying to count out how many we're on at the moment, and I can't do them all because there's just too many. But, I've got to say hello to Radislav, who's in Moscow, who listens on OK Radio, OK.fm or OK.ru, that's the one, OK.ru in Moscow, because I promised him I'd say hello to him, and also to Sally, who's in Shillington with Andy. Got to say hello to them. They listen on the mobile phone app, and it gives you an opportunity to share good things. I know you get the negatives, but as you say, to share good things with people. And if one can do that, then I think that's just a phenomenal thing. I so wish that it's like another young lady that was on this station, oh my Lord, 2006. I've just remembered. And that
Can you remember back that far?
I can.
I'm quite shocked.
Yes. And the young lady's name was the unknown at the time, never released a single, Rhiannon. And she was on this station before anything had ever happened to her. And I always remember Larry saying, you've got to fight on for this, blah, 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 blah. And you're now saying the same thing as well. So you're on your own. You're saying you're being driven, but where do you get your energy to be driven?
I have a very strong desire to be happy and to get the best in my life. Now, I can't say that everyone feels that way, because I at times have felt very lost and confused, and somehow I've had to find a way of managing my thoughts. It's always boiled down to my subconscious mind and how much nonsense I think about throughout the day. Now, I can't speak for everyone else, but I had to take a really hard rule with myself is I'm not putting up with all the nonsense that I keep thinking about, because I want to be able to enjoy today and to live now. So I really do focus on being in the here and now. What goes on tomorrow doesn't matter. What goes on yesterday is in the past. It's living in the now and being grateful for being alive, breathing, and having as much as I can in my life that I enjoy, whether that's friends, family. There's always something in life that you can take the positivity. And so that's really where I drive, is that strong ethic inside me. And maybe it's regimented to a point.
I think that's your family upbringing, isn't it?
Yeah. My father was in the armed forces. My grandfather was as well. So it's that very much that regimented athletic attitude I have, that I exercise regularly as well. I have that type of attitude where I'm determined to get there, and I believe I'll get there because I want it enough and I'm willing to work hard at it. And it's working hard and having self-belief And I believe that applies to everyone. If you really want something, work hard at it. Go out and get it.
Axel in Arizona, are you listening? Yeah. Oh, actually, you just put a message up on the screen. Nice to meet you. But it's that time. Love the show. Have a good day, Eric and Dave, from your friend Axel in Arizona. He's off to work now. Oh, God, he's going to have to run. He's only got
have a good day at work, Axel.
Have a good day at work, Axel. He's only got 8 minutes to get there, and it takes him nearly 15. Oops. So you have a good day at work today, mate. Good luck to you. Take care of yourself. And as you just heard, don't give up on your music. Keep fighting for it, because that's the important thing to do. It really is. Listen, it's time for your shameless plug and your shameless commercial to tell everybody on the listening to RTI where to find you, how to find you, a little synopsis of the platforms, da-da-da-da-da. You're now in commercial airtime. Off you go.
Thank you very much, Eric. Well, you can find me on all the music platforms, which is including Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, as Annular Day Official, where you'll find my music. I'm also on.
Can you just spell your name again for everybody?
Annular Day is spelled ANULADE with an accent on the E. Official. But I'm also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram under the same name. And if you get lost and you can't think of where you can find me, just head to annularday.com, which is my website, and there's links to everything on there.
Yep. I've just been corrected by Axel. It's Alabama where he is. Mitchell says, interesting to hear what you say. Thanks for coming on the show. How about that? Isn't that nice? That's nice. Mitchell is a nice boy now and again, allegedly. I'm sure his mum won't agree, but that's another story. What was your YouTube channel again?
Annular Day Official.
So they're all the same?
Annular Day Official.
So if we put that into Google...
Yes.
Yeah, we're laughing all the way to the piggy bank, as they say.
And in fact, if in doubt of any of those platforms, just head to the website annularday.com and you'll find links to all of the platforms.
That's the best one to remember, isn't it? Got to be the best one. It is the best one to remember. Okay, listen, thank you so much for joining us. Totally.
Oh, thank you.
No. Our job is to be rather like a portal. And what I mean by that is we've got a whole bunch of people listening right now, and we love them all to bits. They're a huge family. And mine and Dave's job on these shows is to encourage people to come on who, especially right now, will give some inspiration to others who might not just have the energy that you have, might not just have the energy that Dave and I have to do all this stuff on weeks and weeks and weeks. And don't forget, we only started this at the beginning of COVID as the name says, radio relief, to give people a break from the norm. And here we are a year later still doing it. As they say, but finding people like you to have on the show, there are chances for people who are visually impaired. There are people who suffer breast cancer to get another chance, and you've just epitomised all of those things in 1 hour. And I can only thank you for having the courage to share all those stories with our listeners. So on their behalf, I'm going to say thank you to you.
Oh, you're very welcome, but thank you for having me on your show. You're doing a great...
No, thank you very much indeed. Right, we better do another one of these because I was ranting about it earlier, and then we'll say goodbye.
Bye.
1, 2, 3. Wash your hands. It just takes 20 seconds. Wash your hands. It's for your own protection. No exceptions, no objections. You'll make such a nice impression. No infection if you only wash your hands. And you're done.
And it's now plug time again for tomorrow with Dave.
On tomorrow night's radio experience, I'm joined by the 3 members of the band Crossover. That's Melanie, Andy, and Nick. They are a unsigned rock band from America and Canada. They're totally international. It's very interesting. So join me at 9 UK time, 10 o'clock Central European time.
Yeah, I get all that. Paul says a preemptive goodbye. which is very kind. You have a good day, Paul. Seriously, have a nice good day, everybody. Oh, wow. Thank you for all the likes on you now. That's rather spiffing, or something like that. Coming up after this show.
Oh, who's on next?
You.
That's a good scheduling. Well
yes,
done.
With Dave's 80s special.
Ooh.
It's a good show, actually. I've had the chance to have a little look at that. And believe it or not, although it's recorded, because obviously Dave was here, it's like all the shows from here. They're put together by human... But we have no jukebox in this studio at all. There is none of them. Don't have them. Every show is made by a human being, if one can call Dave a human being.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, anyway, thank you to Annulada, with the accent on the E, which makes it a kind of like AY sound. Tim says, thanks, Dave and Eric, superb show. That's not down to me, that's down to Annulada. See you soon, bye all. That's Tim in Australia.
Bye, Tim.
Bye, Tim. And other than that, it's time for us to say goodbye as well, David.
Okay, then. Well, goodbye, and stay safe. I'll be back tomorrow and also on Friday for Postcard.
There you go. See you all soon, boys and girls. Take care. Have a great day. And don't forget what Annulada said. Stay positive.
RTI.
Hello.
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 Is there anybody out there?
Can you hear me?